23 to 42. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashtaprayesu Apatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nistike. Text 23 to 24. O King Parikshit, that hero Sudyumna, accompanied by a few ministers and associates, and riding on a horse brought from Sindhu Pradesh, once went into the forest to hunt. He wore armor and was decorated with bows and arrows, and he was very beautiful. While following the animals and killing them, he reached the northern part of the forest. There in the north, at the bottom of the Mount Meru, is a forest known as Sukumara, where Lord Shiva always enjoys with Uma. Sudumna entered that forest. O King Parikshit, as soon as Sudumna, who was expert in subduing enemies, entered the forest, he saw himself transferred into a female and his horse transferred into a mare. When his followers also saw their identities transformed and their sex divorced, they were all very morose and just looked at one another. Maharaj Parikshit said, O most powerful Brahmana, why was this place so empowered? And who made it so powerful? Kindly answer this question, for I am very eager to hear about this. Text 29, Sukadeva Goswami answered, greatly sent person who strictly observed the spiritual rules and regulation and whose own effulgence dissipated all the darkness of all direction, once came to see Lord Shiva in that forest. When the goddess Ambika saw the great saintly person, she was very much ashamed because at that time she was naked. She immediately got up from the lap of her husband and tried to cover her breast. Seeing Lord Shiva and Parvati engaged in sexual affairs, all the great saintly person immediately desisted from going further and departed for the ashrama of Naranarayana. Text 32. Thereupon, just to please his wife, Lord Shiva said, any male entering this place shall immediately become a female. Since that time, no male had entered that forest. But now King Sudumna had been transferred into a female, began to walk with his associates from one forest to another. Sudumna had been transferred into the best of beautiful women who excite sexual desire and who was surrounded by other women. Upon seeing this beautiful woman loitering near his ashrama, Buddha, the son of the moon, immediately desired to enjoy her. The beautiful woman also desired to accept Buddha, the son of the king of the moon, as her husband. Thus Buddha begot in her womb a son named Pururava. I heard from reliable sources that King Sudumna, the son of Manu, having thus achieved femininity, remembered his familiar spiritual master Vasishtha. Text 37. Upon seeing Sudumna's deplorable condition, Vasishtha was very much aggrieved. Desiring for Sudumna to regain his maleness, Vasishtha again began to worship Lord Sankara Shiva. O King Parikshit, Lord Shiva was pleased with Vasishtha. Therefore, to satisfy him and to keep his own word to Parvati, Lord Shiva said to that saintly person, your disciple Sudumna may remain a male for 1 month and a female for the next month. In this way, he may rule the world as he likes. Thus, being favored by spiritual master according to the words of Lord Shiva, Sudumna regained his desired manliness every alternate month, and in this way ruled the kingdom, although the citizens were not satisfied with this. O King Sudumna had three very pious O King Sudumna had three very pious sons, named Utkala, Gaya, and Bimala, who became the kings of the Dakshinapatha. Thereafter the time was ripe, so when Sudumna, the king of the world, was sufficiently old, he delivered the entire kingdom to his son Pururava and entered the forest. Thank you. Haribol.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hemangi Matai. Hare Krishna. Yeah. My obeisance to all of you. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So we'll just offer brief prayers and we'll continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Ajnanitimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desutarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sorry, I forgot Hemangi Mataji already did the prayers and I did one more time. So we're in the ninth section. Yesterday, Radharani Mataji started the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto is very interesting and it keeps the interest going with small pastimes also. So ninth canto is, most of you know, there's a verse in Padma Purana that talks about how Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna and different cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are like different limbs of Lord Krishna. For example, first and second cantos are like his lotus feet of Lord Krishna, like that. As we progress to the Srimad Bhagavatam, we're progressing from the lotus feet all the way to the face and lotus feet of Krishna, lotus face of Krishna, and the head of Krishna. So we are up to ninth canto is like the throat of Lord Krishna. So in the ninth canto, out of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam that are described in the second canto, the main topic I'm saying, that is not the only topic. The main topic described is Ishanukada. That means uh, pastimes of Supreme Lord and his devotees. That's what is described in the ninth canto. And His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu writes in his Bhagavata Pravaha book how Bhagavad Pravaha is a book that is a summary of the Srimad Bhagavatam in a story format with lessons, key lessons. In that he writes how this ninth canto is describing the two main dynasties, Sun dynasty and Moon dynasty, which are originating from the seventh Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. So that's what is describing. And then through these various stories, this canto describes the dangers of the six enemies we have: lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. All these different enemies we have or impurities we have in the heart, this describes the dangers of those also. And then it helps us to understand the power of Maya and so cautions us to be careful with Maya, like that. Yeah, that's the overall ninth canto overview. Now coming to this particular first chapter, we heard in the beginning of this first chapter yesterday that how Parishit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami to tell about the Vaivasvata Manamantra. That is the seventh Manamantra, the different histories and pastimes of the seventh Manamantra kings he was asking. And if you remember, all the way from third canto till the eighth canto, different Manus are described. Primarily, Swayambhu Manu dynasty was focused a lot between third canto to eighth canto almost. And then eighth canto, we heard about several other Manvantras also, several other Manus also. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth Manvantara also. Now, Parishit Maharaj is asking about seventh Manvantara. And then from yesterday's session, we learned how Vaivasut Manu desired to have a son, and then he did a sacrifice with under the guidance of Vasishtha Muni. And then but he got a daughter. Her name was Ila. Why did he get the daughter? Because his wife Shraddha requested priest at the last moment that I want to have a daughter, like that. So then, even though the the priest chanted the mantras because he was distracted, they got a daughter. But then we also heard towards the end of yesterday's class how Vasishtha Muni pleased Supreme Lord Hari and then uh, m- made that daughter Ila into a male also. His name was, the name of the daughter now became male. His name is Sudyumna. So that is how the pastime is progressing. Now let me go to the verse now, 23rd verse. Okay. So now, so we'll remember the storyline, and then we'll come to the essential theme of the session today. Two essential themes of the session today are this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam. One is how the impact of destiny is very hard to control in any way. That is one important theme. Second important theme is how in this world so many things are temporary, including our own identity with the gender like that. And then how we need to focus on the permanent eternal aspect of spiritual elevation like that. Those are two broad themes. We'll get to that theme. So from the storyline perspective, we heard Vavasudha Manu got a daughter by name Ila, and then she got transformed into Sudyumna by the prayers of Vasishtha Muni, by the power of Vasishtha Muni, who invoked the mercy of Supreme Lord Vishnu. That is what we heard so far in the storyline. Now, now this Sudyumna, who is a male now, who is the prince, who is the son of Vavasudha Manu, one time he goes to the forest along with his associates riding on a horse. So when he goes to the forest, he's very powerful king. It is described. He's decorated nicely with armor, bows and arrows, and all that is described. So then, while he's going on hunting like that in the forest, he went to the northern part of the forest, which is on the uh, bottom of Mount Meru is described. And that particular forest portion of the forest is called Sukumara, it seems. And the Sukumara forest is where Lord Shiva enjoys with his wife Uma or Parvati. So Sudyumna entered that particular portion of the northern portion of the forest called Sukumara. It's surprising that as soon as he entered that forest, Sukumara forest portion, then he got transformed into female. Not only he got transformed into female, his horse became a female also. Not only his horse became female, all the soldiers and associates who were coming with him, they all became female also. So they were all surprised seeing each other. What is this? We all became female like that. Then, actually, that was what Sukadeva Goswami is describing to Parishad Maharaj. Now, Parishad Maharaj want to understand why this happened. So he is asking further question to Sukadeva Goswami. He's asking what made that forest so powerful that all these people became from male to female. Can you please elaborate like that? Then Sukadeva Goswami describes the reason for this forest to get this potency like this, and why they have changed the gender like this. Then he describes the previous pastime related to Lord Shiva and Parvati. One time, Lord Shiva and Parvati were there in this particular portion of the forest, Sukumara, where they were enjoying intimate pastimes. At that time, some sages who are very powerful. Interestingly, in this section, how the sages are powerful is described is they have strictly observed the spiritual rules and regulations. That is how they are described as powerful. So, one of the ways of describing sages or ascetics is how they are disciplined in their following their vows, disciplined following the rules and regulations given in the scriptures to please the Supreme Lord like that. So that's how they are described. They once came to Lord Shiva to see him in this forest, it seems. But at the same time, Lord Shiva and Parvati's name is given as Goddess Ambika in this section, in this portion of the section. Previously, she called Uma. Now they called her Ambika here. So they were both. So when they came to see Lord Shiva, Ambika was not decent. She was not properly dressed. So she became a little ashamed, and she started to cover her body, is described. And then that time, the sages understood that is not appropriate time to go in. Then they turned back and they went to Himalayas, to the place of ashrama of Narnarayan Rishi. That's what is described. So now the sages went away, but Lord Shiva saw that her wife became embarrassed like that, and Lord Shiva wanted to please Ambika. And what did he say? He said, "Any male entering this place shall immediately become a female." Like that, he uttered this statement. The We know Lord Shiva is very very powerful, so his statement has power with it also. So now, from that time, no one and no male dared to enter that forest because they heard about this, how the males become female when you enter this portion of the forest like that. But now this King Sudimna, who is the son of Vaivasut Manu, we heard Vaivasut Manu and Shraddha Devi. So they entered and they all became, along with these associates in horse, they all became female. We heard. Now in the 33rd verse purport, Prabhupada gives the essence of this pastime, which is about how we need to go beyond the bodily identification and see ourselves and others at the soul platform, and then work on the soul platform with giving significance to the soul platform, giving significance to devotion service to Krishna, giving significance to the aim of the human life to engage in devotion service to Krishna is the main lesson we can learn from this pastime Prabhupada is emphasizing here. So now I'll complete the storyline and then go back to the themes some more. Yeah. In the 34th verse, now, now Suddhimna, the king Suddhimna became a female, we heard. So we remember originally he was a Ila. He was born as a female Ila because his mother wanted her female daughter. And then because Vaivasut Manu was a little bit unhappy because he wanted to have a heir for his kingdom. So Vasishtha Muni made him a male. That means Ila became Suddhimna. Now Suddhimna, because he entered Sukumara forest, he became a female again. So now he is going in the forest along with his associates, female associates. Now everybody is female now. Now suddenly there is a son of moon god, the planet of the king of the moon planet, Soma. His son, his name is Buddha. In the word for word meaning of one of the verses, this Buddha is also described as Mercury planet. So he is the predominating deity of Mercury planet or Buddha planet is described in 34th verse, whatever meaning. So this son of moon god, his name is Buddha, he was very fascinated seeing the lady form of Sudyumna. Now she's back to Ila again, right? So he was very fascinated. And it is described that Ila, who is the lady form of Sudyumna, she's also fascinated by seeing Buddha. So they both liked each other and they both got married and from them produced a son by name Pururava. This name is important. This king Pururava is important. He's one of the famous kings also in the Moon dynasty. So if you notice, Vaivasmatu from yesterday's session, you might remember, Vaivasvat Manu is the son of Vivaswan, sun god. That means this is actually Sun dynasty. Now in the Sun dynasty, this Sudyumna in the form of a lady was attracted to Buddha, who is from the Moon dynasty, son of Moon god. Now because of that, King Pururava came. So now that starts off Moon dynasty through Pururava. Whereas this storyline currently is about Sun dynasty. So this will go on for about 13 chapters in the 9th canto. After that, we'll hear back about Pururava and the Moon dynasty again, like that. So that is the overview of this section. Now this Buddha, son of Moon god, and Sudyumna in the lady form, they got a son by name King Pururava, we heard now. So now, uh, but this Sudyumna, who's now in female form, was not happy. So he remembered how his spiritual master Vasishtha Muni is very powerful. So he went to Vasishtha Muni and expressed his dissatisfaction. Then Vasishtha Muni felt very bad for his disciple Sudyumna, who became a female now, in the female form now. So what did Vasishtha Muni do? Vasishtha Muni is very powerful. So because of Lord Shiva's uttering that Sukumara forest got that potency, and because of that Sudyumna got changed to female form, right? Now Vasishtha Muni starts to offer praise to Lord Shiva. And then by worshipping Lord Shiva was very pleased with Vasishtha Muni. So Lord Shiva thinks, okay, now I can change him to Lord Shiva cannot give up his word that he gave to Parvati, which he said anybody who comes here to becomes female. But at the same time, he's very pleased with Vasishtha Muni's worship. So he wants to satisfy both of them. His word that he offered earlier, and then his pleasure at Vasishtha Muni now. So what he does is he gives us an interesting benediction. The interesting benediction is this King Sudyumna, now who's in female form, 1 month he becomes female, 1 month he becomes a male, like that. So alternate months is a male now. So in one sense, it's a benediction that's what he wanted. But obviously, it's a precarious position to stay for 1 month in female form, 1 month in male form, like that. Unless somebody is situated a higher identity. If somebody is identifying with the body, it's like havoc. Oh, I'm male. After 1 month, I need to think, I need to feel and behave and think like female, like that. So it's such a havoc. But that is the benediction he got from Lord Shiva. So now, with that benediction, he started to rule the kingdom. Actually, Burjan Prabhu in his study guide, he talks about how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary says, 1 month when he is male, he was ruling the kingdom, it seems. But the other 1 month when he was a female, he was hiding from the general public. He is not ruling the kingdom, it seems. So the citizens were not happy because he's not doing the ruling all the time. Only 1 month, alternate months is ruling. So citizens were not very satisfied, is described also in this place. Now, interestingly, Bhagavatam, even though it's describing the seventh mantra, all the dynasty kings, what we'll see is Bhagavatam will only pick particular personalities to give us knowledge that is helpful to progress towards Krishna consciousness. Number one. Number two, it also doesn't focus on they got up in the morning, they brushed their teeth, they took bath. It doesn't go that level detail also. It goes to the prominent portion of their lifetime. That's it. Now it winds up the King Sudyumna's life story in 2 verses. Basically, it says King Sudyumna, now when he's in male form, he had 3 sons, Utkala, Gaya, and Vimala, it seems, who became kings of Dakshinapata name. Then after that, the last verse of this chapter winds up the pastime of King Sudyamna in one shot, in simple sentence, in simple verse. He says, when King Sudyamna was sufficiently old, then he gave his kingdom to his son Pururava. Remember, earlier he had the son Pururava. When he was in the female form, he got it through Buddha, and then he entered the forest. That means he took the Vanaprastha ashram. From Grihastha ashram, which is married life, he took the retired life, which is a Vanaprastha ashram, like that. So this is also showing, Prabhupada writes in the purport that how when somebody reaches 50 years of age or 55 years of age of sufficient old age, then he should uh, give up the family life or enter the retired life. So that way he is focusing fully on spiritual life and achieve the perfection of human life, like that. So this is an important aspect for us also as devotees to start thinking about our retired life, and so that we can our spiritual life will be more prominent in retired life, like that. That is one thing. So overall, this whole section, why is this whole pastime is there in Bhagavatam? That somebody became a female, somebody was born as female, they as Ila, and they became Sudyumna as a male, and then later when they went to forest Sukumara, they became a female again, and later because of Shiva's benediction, they became alternate month male and female again. Why is this whole pastime here in Srimad Bhagavatam? His great Chaitanya Charan Prabhu talks about it. I attended one course long time ago by Gortanike village, like 5 years ago. Sravanam, it's called Bhagavata Sravanam or something like that. In that, Chaitanya Charitamrita was describing, which what Prabhupada also elaborated in 33rd purport, that this is trying to show us that this body is temporary. Anything related to body is temporary. But it means somebody may be very rich today and tomorrow morning they become very poor. Somebody may be very poor today. In 1 or 2 days they may become very rich because of some good fortune suddenly. That respect to money. Similarly, somebody may be in very high position today, but in 1 or 2 days they may become a very lower position also. They may lose that position also. What to speak about these temporary possessions, even something we feel so much strongly identified with, our own gender, that can also be changed like this in this scenario. So we saw in this case, gender was changed with the curse, gender was changed with the blessings. Gender in these days, we see gender is changed with technology like medical operations and hormones and all that. So the identity of this body is very temporary. What to speak about the possessions related to the body. So that relation we should get with these kind of pastimes. That this is not a permanent entity. Permanent entity is we are spirit soul. We are servant of Krishna. Not this I'm a male, I'm a female like that. So when we understand this aspect, then we'll not focus too much on how I can keep my body fit and enjoy, give a lot of enjoyment to the body like that. Because other aspect Prabhupada writes in the purport also is that uh, the whatever amount of money we are supposed to get, whatever amount of happiness we are supposed to get through the senses is fixed for this life already. So that means even if you do a lot of endeavor to change our destiny, we cannot change the destiny so much. So that is what is being shown in this particular pastime. So remember, originally Vyavasith Manu got a daughter, but he had tried to change his destiny, and through Vasishtha Muni he got became a man. But still he had to become a female again. But still, because of Vasishtha Muni, he tried to become male, but alternate month he still stayed female only. So destiny is very hard to control. Destiny is inescapable in one sense. That is the essence of this particular pastime. However, in the next chapter, we'll see how the destiny itself can be changed by performing bhakti. So that is the lesson for this pastime is don't spend too much time to change the destiny as it relates to the temporary body and temporary positions like that. That is one essence. Then what are we supposed to do? Then we are supposed to focus our time, energy, and enthusiasm in actually focusing on our eternal identity as a spirit soul beyond this material body that we are seeing now. And then focus on devotion service to Krishna. That is what we are meant to do, ignoring the external aspect, ignoring the illusion that external aspect of our identity is all in all. So does that mean that we don't care about body? No. We need to take care of body's health, body's um, decent decoration of our body, for example, so that we are presentable to others, so that we can be in a social position nicely in the society. At this, at the same time, so that we can practice bhakti nicely. That is the focus. So that means we, for example, I don't behave irrationally, thinking that I'm not this body, I'm a soul anyway. Because I'm in this body of a male right now, I will maintain the decorum of a male in the society right now. I don't behave like a female like that, for example. Like that, I maintain the decorum of social position. Same time, understanding that that is not my permanent identity. My eternal identity is I'm a spirit soul. So I focus on the service to Krishna instead. Yeah. So that is the essence of this whole chapter and this particular pastime. We'll hear more and more pastimes. Next chapter is also wonderful pastime, glorifying the potency of bhakti itself. Yeah. We'll pause here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kupasindubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare